This is FBG Jen.
And FBG Kristen.
And I'm FBG Margot, host and producer. You're listening to the podcast that will help you keep a lid on the junk in the trunk and inspire you to live a happy and confident life.
Each episode, we chat with motivational experts and celebs and share our own candid adventures in being healthy.
If you're looking for a podcast that's equal parts hilarious and enlightening, well then welcome to the Fit Bottomed Girls podcast.
Welcome back to the Fit Bottomed Girls podcast. This is FBG Margot, and on the line today we have Jen.
Hey guys.
And we have Kristen.
Hello.
And we kind of have a superhero on the show today. We have Malin Akerman. She was a superhero in, what was the movie I'm thinking of, you guys?
The Watchman.
Thank you. And she tells us about that. She got into kick-ass shape to be in The Watchman. She did CrossFit training. And she's doing the show Billions right now on Showtime, and she's filming in New York. And her peeps got in touch with Jen and said, hey, would you like to have her on the show? And Jen said, hell yes. And so she came on the show today. And so what did you guys think of her? I was so completely delighted with her. She seems like such a cool, fun chick.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I loved her answers about working out, where she was just like, yeah, I was in like the best shape of my life when I did Watchmen. And it was also like torturous. Like I would never do it again. She was like, it was amazing, but I would never do it again. So I thought that was just really, honest. And I appreciate that. What'd you think, Kristen?
I thought it was great. And so I've actually talked to her before. Back 100 years ago when I was a blogger at AOL. I talked to her when she was promoting some movie about fashion. And I remember her being really nice because there were some A and B and C list actors who I spoke to at that time who were not. And I remember thinking like, gosh, she's very professional, but she's extremely like accessible and friendly and doesn't, at no point here either, like, I never felt like we were taking up her time. Mm-hmm. Like we were just there, chatting, and she was happy to be there, which was really cool. So yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. And it's just nice to see people who have found that kind of success in Hollywood still seem really nice and down to earth.
I loved your stories about her mother, and that her mother ran a health food store in Toronto. And so when Malin was a kid, she was very shocked to find out that her friends, and she says this in the interview, but she was shocked to find out that their yogurt wasn't green. Her yogurt was green because her mother put, what is it, spirulina in there?
Spirulina,
excuse me. So I just she's like, that's the kind of person that she is. Like she kind of grew up in this very healthy environment, and that's just how she leads her life now. And if you follow her on Instagram, she has an adorable son, she has an adorable fiance, and she's engaged right now. And she was a fun interview, and she talks about how her parents had this influence on her life. So I wanted to ask you guys, how did your folks influence your life? Like your life being fun, healthy, adventurous, whatever. How did your folks influence you?
Yeah, so I feel really lucky that my parents raised me around just a lot of nature. My parents, we were always like, we had a boat and we went fishing. I think Kristen and I have had a podcast episode where we realized we both grew up with like the same like Skeeter boat or something, and we like blew each other's mind. So that's been established. But in addition to that, like we went to a lot of national parks, and we would go camping, for like multiple days at a time in the middle of nowhere, and we would go hiking. And I really developed a love for being outside in so many different areas of the country, and really respecting and like connecting kind of to nature and that beauty and that kind of larger thing than myself at a very young age that I feel so grateful for. In addition to that, I mean, we would just play. I'm an only child, so I kind of had my parents to myself, and they would, like my dad would play not Foursquare. There'd only be two of us if we were playing together. We played Two Square, like with a ball before the bus would come.
We did that too.
Oh my God.
That's hilarious. Oh my gosh, Kristen. We they put up like a tetherball pole for me in the backyard, and I actually used to play with my dog. He would like stand on one side and jump and hit the ball, and then I would stand there, hit the other side. This is what happens when you're an only child, folks. You play tetherball with your dog. And then we would play basketball and shoot hoops and stuff in the front yard. But my mom taught me how to play tennis. And I want to say I was like 7 or 8, and we just went out to a public court, and she taught me the game, and then we'd watch it on TV. We'd watch all the majors Wimbledon especially was always like so fun to watch together. And I mean, I played in high school, and I don't really play that much now, but I still watch it on TV, and I still would like to play it. I like to think I'm still good. Um, but that was a huge part of my upbringing, and I loved being involved in a sport, especially when I was kind of like, coming of age. It was really, really good for me. And I'm really, really grateful for that, because I think in a lot of different ways, that stuff doesn't like really translate to like the gym or the workouts I do now. But I think that the importance and kind of just the normalness of being active did. And I think that is part of makes me who I am today. What about you, Kristen?
Yeah, my folks also did a good job of introducing me to being outdoors and also being comfortable with a variety of different sports. But I think that one of the coolest things that they gave me was when they met. Well, backing up, but they were not settled in one area when they were young. My mom up and left her home in Indiana and drove out to California when she was like, I don't know, 18 or 19, and went to business school, and was just kind of like the only, she grew up in a fairly small town, and was just like, you know what, I have something else in mind. This is what I want to do. And my dad was in the Air Force and then did a variety of jobs following that, including hairdressing, and then moving on to owning a hunting and fishing store. So,
Can we talk about the hairdressing at some point?
Yeah, please go back to the hairdressing.
He's like really good. My mom has this, I don't know if you've seen pictures of my mom. She's got this cute little pixie cut.
Yeah.
He does it. Because
oh my gosh.
Well, yeah, I know. So.
Wow. Okay. Awesome.
Yeah. So kind of an eclectic life, but that made it really easy. Well, maybe easy isn't the right word. It made the idea of up and leaving and doing something new that nobody I knew was doing feel really accessible. And when I was 20, I had been at Michigan State, and I made kind of a quick decision. I mean, there was thought into it for sure, and there was planning, but the actual decision to up and move happened within a heartbeat. And I moved to Florida, and that's where I still live now. And they were super supportive of it. And I think that it would have been very easy for a lot of parents to, to take their only child and say, oh, no, we don't want you to be that far. That's going to be scary. It's going to be scary for you. We don't want you to be that, be that far away from us. But they were just super supportive. And my mom was like, you know what, my car is bigger. Why don't you drive down with that so you can take more stuff? And then we'll trade out at some point when we come down there. Mm-hmm. And in fact, they actually moved up to Canada to a cabin where they didn't even have phone access the same weekend I moved down. So I think they trusted me to make some good decisions. But, what a gift to have parents who not only paved that way to be brave and to be adventurous and to be willing to strike out on your own when it feels right, but then to give me the freedom to do that. And that was a lot of, I think, what shaped the person I've become now, which I like to think is a pretty cool person. I don't know.
Hell yeah.
We like you.
I like me, so I'm glad you do. What about you, Margot?
So it's so funny.
Oh, and also,
go ahead.
Today's my mom's birthday as we're recording.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday! Yeah, I mean, she'll get this way later, but
it still counts.
You know what?
There. December 18th, we're recording this. It's my sister's birthday.
Oh,
what? And Keith Richards' birthday. Let's just give applause for all three.
It's an exciting day.
Oh my gosh.
So, yeah, it's so funny. You're both only children. So I grew up in a family with 4 kids, and my mom had 4 kids in 6 years. So we are all around the same age. We were kind of raised together. It's a totally different way to be raised. I have a lot of friends who are only children. I just look at them like, oh my God, that must have been so awesome. Even though I love my siblings very, very much. But my parents are super adventurous too. So my dad worked for IBM. And at the time that stood for I've been moved. The IBM kids make that joke, but you move a lot. So yeah, we went from New York to Pennsylvania to New Jersey to California. And so when I was graduated college and I was ready to move from San Jose, California to New York City all by my little old self, they were like, great, good for you. Have fun, like the same thing. And but the best thing my parents did, and I always appreciated this, is when we were young, once a month we went to the library. And all of us went to the library. We all got books. And then we took them home, and like they really encouraged reading, and they really encouraged being curious and having hobbies. And it's fun to learn new things. And it's okay to leave things aside and learn something else when you're done with it. And that's like, I think, the big gift they gave me.
Aw, I love that.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy that you learned podcasting.
Yes.
So that we can have this podcast.
Damn Skippy.
Yeah, I got me you guys, of course. I mean, talking to you guys every week is super fun, but I got to talk to a movie star, Malin Akerman. Oh my God.
Yep.
She's so cool, you guys. You're going to love this interview. She's so down to earth and she's so great. So I can't even say anything more. You just got to listen to the interview right now. So why don't we do this, you guys? Why don't we go into the interview with Malin Akerman? Named one of Variety's 10 actors to watch in 2007, Swedish-Canadian actress Malin Akerman has since been tearing up Hollywood with her beauty and charisma, her sharp comedic timing, and her touching dramatic performances. She currently stars in Showtime television series Billions alongside Damian Lewis and Paul Giamatti. She will next be starring as the villain in New Line Cinema's Rampage opposite Dwayne Johnson. Akerman currently resides in Los Angeles and New York, and in her spare time, she enjoys volunteering for organizations such as Environmental Media Association, Children's Hospital Los Angeles, and Opportunity International. She is here today to talk about her favorite health, beauty, and fitness tips. Welcome to the show, Malin.
Hi, how you doing?
We're doing great. So this is Margot, and on the line today we have Jen and Kristen. We are so excited to talk to you, and I would like to ask you the first question. So growing up in Toronto, your beautiful mom was not only a model, but she also ran a health food store. So can you tell us how that shaped your attitude about health and wellness, not only for yourself, but also for your most important role as a mom to your son, Sebastian?
Of course. I mean, obviously growing up with an awareness about health and the importance of, eating right and keeping yourself healthy and fit and ingredients in certain foods and what that means. And, it's just something that when it's in your periphery and it's there, it's hard to ignore it. Knowledge is power. And once you have it, you can't get rid of it. You can't unknow it. So I was really lucky growing up with a mom who was very informed and passed that on to me. Although, I remember the first time I went to a friend's place and they served me yogurt and it was white. And I went, wait a second, isn't yogurt green? And they go, what? Are you crazy? Because my mom used to put spirulina in my yogurt in the morning. So I had no idea that yogurt was even white. But it's something that is obviously very important in passing along to my son and making him aware of his own health and being able to understand what is, important and what is healthy and what is a treat and what certain foods do for our body. And some are brain food and some is food that strengthens your muscles. And, I just think that the awareness is key and raising, aware children who make the right choices and in turn become their own leaders in their life and their lifestyle is just an important thing.
I totally agree. Shifting a little bit away from nutrition, I want to talk about workouts. So I would imagine that you training for your life maybe is a little bit different than training for a role in a movie or a TV show. Can you talk a little bit about what that has been like for you and maybe what you're doing now, whether that's working with a trainer, group X classes or whatever. What do you do?
Sure. Sure. It all depends. Obviously, in my regular life, I think it's interesting because before having my son, my body was up for anything. And then after having a child, things change. And, getting your body back, which is a big thing because obviously you've been carrying a lot of baby weight. And so I think that everything shifted a little bit. And I try to stick nowadays to a lot of Pilates and getting all these little minute muscles back in place, and doing some swimming and some strength training. I was really obsessed with cycling for a while, which is so much fun. Soul Cycle, if you haven't tried it, or any kind of cycling, where there's loud music playing, it almost feels like a dance party on a bicycle, but it just kind of gets me going, and it's just 45 minutes training. But I try, 3 times a week is sort of my standard. I try to get out there 3 times a week. And if I can't, the other option is just going for walks. Right now I'm living in New York, and you walk a lot when you're in New York. So it just gives you I remember reading somewhere that 20 minutes a day of just a brisk walk is really great for your health. So that kind of stuff when I'm on my day-to-day basis, when I'm not training for a role. I mean, training for a role, it just depends on what they need, but some of it can be, CrossFit and really hard training with former Navy SEALs, which was brutal.
Whoa.
But it's super exciting. It's something new and different, and I've never been yelled at so much in my life. But I'm responded to it because I didn't want to disappoint. But I think I'll go with the softer version nowadays. I really enjoy Pilates. I think it really does something special for your body. Again, it's training all the little muscles that we didn't even know were there. I really enjoy seeing the results and feeling the results with that. It's top of my list right now.
Super cool. Now, the workouts that you were just referring to for a role with the Navy SEAL and all of that, I'm guessing that might have been the most physically challenging role you've taken on. But I'd love to know more about like that.
Sure, it was for a film called Watchman. Back
I
in
thought it might
2008
be.
we filmed that. Yeah, and it was great. I mean, that whole experience was a 9-month experience. So we started training 3 months before shooting the movie, and it was 5 days a week, and it was CrossFit, basically, was the type of training it was. But, I mean, to be a little bit and give you a little TMI, but by the end of week 1, I couldn't even wipe my own butt. I mean, I was in so much pain. I could not move. It was insane. But it was fantastic. I've never been in better shape in my whole life. We really worked hard, and it was intense. It was pulling big tires with the rope from one end of the room to the next. And I'm talking like a big sort of gymnastics space, doing obstacle courses, being tied up to a fence with an elastic and trying to run as far as possible and hitting a certain point and deadlifting 250 pounds. And, it was intense. And that was 9 months of that. So I don't think I'll ever do that again unless, again, of course, I need to do it for a role, but I'll just stick to the softer versions of workouts.
So I know that was really physically challenging
quite
for the Watchman, but I also understand wearing so much, makeup and having your hair done so often is also super challenging. It's challenging for your skin and your hair. And so I understand that you have your own beauty routine to help you looking good and feeling your best. So can you clue us in on what that is?
Absolutely. I mean, there's so many different levels to it, but obviously I think, we've heard it before, but for me, I really am a believer that beauty comes from within. And, when you start off on the right foot, again, that's probably my background with my mom and having all the health food store in the back and the vitamins and all that kind of stuff. It's sort of my go-to always, because you can obviously take care of your skin and your hair on the outside. And there's so much wear and tear in the business that I'm in. So you can only go so far with that, and you need to sort of regenerate. And what I like to do is supplement with vitamins. And Nature's Bounty has a 3-in-1 with it, which is hair, skin, and nails. It's a gummy that you can just eat in the morning on the go. It's delicious. It's really great. It really helps. I definitely notice a difference for me. It's been really wonderful. Again, it's just, I feel like this business is so hard on all of those elements. But other than that, starting my day off with the right vitamins, drinking lots of water, making sure I eat really healthy as often as I can. You always got to give yourself, the right treats whenever you can. But anything that kind of promotes healthy skin, hair, and nails is where I'll go to, just because, again, of the nature of my business. That's been a great supplement for me.
Awesome. Yeah, and they are delicious. I know that.
They are really good.
They really are. Yeah, you're like, here's my treat for the day. Thank you.
Yeah, totally.
So I know we have a lot of readers who are sometimes they will, they'll go to the gym and listeners, they'll go to the gym and then they'll want to go off for brunch or, have to go back to work or all that kind of stuff. And I mean, I know that we all see the images of celebs who go into the gym and they come out and they look fresh, they didn't even work out. So do you have tips for how to pull that off so that you can, come out and you just look fresh? Or do you even feel that pressure that you always have to kind of look camera ready even when, you came out of Soul Cycle and you're sweaty?
I don't think I do look camera ready after a workout. But listen, there's always the big glasses. You see a lot of celebs wearing the big glasses. Just throw those on. Yeah. Hat and glasses are always a good option. I think that is really the perfect solution if you got to run out from a workout and you're going to go meet some friends for brunch. Bring a cool little hat and sunglasses, or just a little refresher bag. Maybe you can splash some water in your face and a few of your favorite items to make you feel like you look a little better for that brunch. But I say go with the big old celeb glasses. It hides all the good stuff.
Awesome.
Totally. Now, I understand that you are engaged, which congratulations.
I am. Thank you.
Yeah, we're very excited for you. And I'm just wondering, aside from planning a wedding and preparing for that, is there anything that you've got coming up that you're excited to share with us today?
That I've got coming up? Geez. Well, I have a movie coming out next year called Rampage with The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, which is very exciting.
That is very exciting.
That should be coming out in April next year, and getting geared up for that. It's that video game. It was called Rampage, a bunch of creatures, animals that bash a bunch of buildings down, and they've made a film out of it. So it's going to be a really
I just saw the trailer for that.
Yeah,
it just did. It looks awesome.
Last weekend. Yeah, it's gonna be a fun. It's one of those really fun ones that you do want to go to the movie theaters to go see because you want the big experience for it. So that's exciting. But yeah, other than that, I mean, really truly just working on Billions, the 3rd season, which is exciting, and planning a wedding with a new man. Gosh, it's so crazy. But me and my son are very excited about it. My son's more excited because he saw some pictures of cupcakes at a wedding, and he just thinks that he's gonna get a ton of cupcakes. So he's ready for it. That's all he requires, which is easy. I don't think he's going to be any kind of prize left.
I follow you on Instagram. Your son is adorable.
Oh, thank you. Thanks. Yeah, he's a good little dude. He's a fun one too. This age, 4.5 years old, they just have a lot of great ideas, and it's that thing. There was that show, Kids Say the Darndest Things. Mm-hmm. It's just every day is a new. He's like a little stand-up comedian. The things that come out of his mouth. It's great. Entertainment.
So I wanted to ask you, because here at Fit Bottom Girls, we really like to emphasize that when it comes to health and fitness, you do you. One size does not fit all. So I just want to know, how do you keep healthy and balanced in an industry that's just so tough on people?
That is a really good question. I think that in the very beginning of my career, I'd grown up doing modeling, and so there was a lot of focus on body, and I got hit pretty hard at 16, and pictures were sent back of me. I did this photo shoot in bra and underwear, and the pictures were sent back, and the photographer had said, "We can't use them, she's too fat." And I was 10 pounds lighter than I am today.
Wow.
So that was a tough moment in my life, and I realized then that, well, first of all, that modeling wasn't for me, and second of all, just that how much it affected me, I really didn't like it. And I made a promise to myself to not ever let anyone else's views on my body affect me anymore, which is easier said than done. But it's been a long journey of trying to just feel my best. And in the moments when I do take a break and it's Christmas vacation and I eat whatever I want and do, whatever I want, to remind myself that that's okay too. And to feel okay about that. Giving myself that pleasure, and then knowing that I can come back and hit the gym and eat right and feel good about myself. But I think it's very much psychology, and all of the people who like to point fingers, and everyone's a critic these days, and unfortunately it is terrible, but I have to keep reminding myself I'm an actress and I'm not a fashion model, and my body doesn't have to be a certain way. I just like to be healthy and feel healthy, and whatever that means for myself is where I'm going to keep it. It still is trying on dresses for events, and probably about 70% of them that are sent to me don't fit because they're fresh off the runway, and that's okay. I used to get bothered by it, but nowadays I just feel like, you know what, when I look at myself in the mirror, I feel good about my body. I feel healthy. I have enough energy to play with my son and get out there, and part of it is also genes. You got to say something about genes and that start of it all. But I think it is really important to have a good sensibility of feeling good. And when you feel good, then that's great. That's for you. That's where the buck stops. It's like that is what you should be doing. Whatever it is that makes you feel good is right then. And anything else just that anyone has to say, then that's their own issues and that's their own stuff that they're projecting onto you. And you just got to put it aside because it's too much to take on, just way too much.
Amen. Whoop. That is exactly like what we're 100% all about. Okay, we will end the interview with the question that we ask all of our amazing podcast guests, which is, what was the last song that you listened to before you did this interview? It's fun.
Oh, you can love this one. Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. This morning.
That's adorable.
Yep. Do you know that song? It is one of his favorites. So we put it on in the morning to get ready and gear it up for school. Yeah, that is the excitement of my mornings, ladies.
Adorable. That's an adorable little ritual. That's adorable.
That was my favorite movie when I was a kid.
Yeah, it's a great one. It's a really great family film. He loves it. Obviously, a boy with a flying car. He's like, I want one of those. So, yeah, every morning we pretend like we're getting in our flying car to school.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you so much for making the time for us today. We really love talking to you.
No problem. Same here. Thank you, ladies.
Love this show? Tell us why in a 5-star review on iTunes and we'll read it on the air. Also, make sure you are a subscriber. If you want to reach out to say hi or have a question about a recent episode, yay, well, feel free to email us at podcast@fitbottomgirls.com. And if this podcast jives perfectly with your brand, consider sponsoring the show. Get more info by emailing advertising@fitbottomgirls.com. Find all kinds of Fit Bottom goodness online and on social media at Fit Bottom Girls, Fit Bottom Mamas, Fit Bottom Eats, and Fit Bottom Zen. And if books and movies are your thing, check out the other podcast I co-host called Book versus Movie, which you can find anywhere where you search for podcasts. Thanks for listening.